Admiral Kethvar of the Hegemony Warfleet studied the tactical display with satisfaction. The blue-green world below them looked so peaceful, so utterly defenseless. His intelligence reports indicated that these humans had barely achieved interplanetary flight, still squabbling among themselves in petty territorial disputes. A primitive species, he muttered to his tactical officer. This will be over within a solar cycle. The Vrex hegemony had conquered 17 worlds in the past century. Each time, the pattern was the same. Overwhelming technological superiority, swift capitulation, integration into their empire. These humans would be no different. Begin orbital bombardment of their military installations, Kethvar ordered. Target their major population centers. Once we've eliminated their capacity for organized resistance, we'll... The transmission from the surface interrupted him. A human face appeared on the main screen, weathered, scarred, with eyes that held no trace of fear. The being spoke in accented galactic standard. I am Admiral Sarah Chen, Joint Chiefs of Earth Defense Command. You have committed an act of unprovoked aggression against our world. We demand your immediate withdrawal. Kethavar's mandibles clicked in amusement. Demand? You are in no position to make demands, primitive. Surrender now, and we may allow some of your species to survive as laborers. The human's expression never changed. I see, then you've made your choice. She leaned forward slightly. Computer execute protocol Omega-7. Authorization Chen Alpha Niner Tango. Humanity is now in extinction mode. The transmission cut. Extinction mode? Kethavar's tactical officer looked puzzled. What could that possibly? The first wave hit them an hour later. It started with the asteroids. Not the large, easily detected ones that any competent fleet would track, but millions of small rocks, each no bigger than a ground transport, each fitted with primitive but effective thruster systems and packed with nuclear charges. They emerged from the asteroid belt like a metallic swarm, too numerous to stop, too small to effectively target. Sir, we're detecting approximately 2.3 million incoming objects, his sensor operator reported, voice tight with disbelief. How is that possible? Our intelligence showed they barely had fusion technology. They do barely have fusion technology, sir, but they've turned their entire asteroid mining operation into a weapon system. Each charge is relatively small, but the fleet shuddered as the first impacts began. Shields designed to deflect energy weapons and large projectiles struggled against the sheer volume of small, dense objects, like being shot with 1 trillion tiny bullets instead of one large cannon. Evasive maneuvers. Return fire. But there was nowhere to run and nothing substantial to target. The humans had weaponized their entire solar system. The second wave was worse. Sir, detecting massive acceleration signatures from Luna, their moon. Kethavar's eyes widened as the tactical display updated. The humans had turned their moon into a railgun platform. Not one gun, thousands. Each crater, each mining facility, each research station had been converted into a kinetic weapons array. Tungsten rods, each massing several tons, began to streak across space at significant fractions of light speed. They turned their own satellite into a fortress, his tactical officer whispered. The third wave nearly broke his spirit entirely. Admiral, communications crackled. We're receiving thousands of signals from the outer system. Sir, they've militarized their entire space infrastructure. Every cargo ship, every research vessel, every mining platform. They're all broadcasting the same message. Put it through. A different human appeared, younger, with paint streaking his face and eyes that burned with fierce joy. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Merchant Marine Auxiliary Fleet. We've got nuclear charges, kinetic weapons, and a really bad attitude. See you in hell, you genocidal bastards. The screen filled with similar transmissions. Elderly humans piloting mining vessels loaded with antimatter charges. Teenagers in modified racing craft diving kamikaze style at his ships. Entire families crammed into freight haulers, broadcasting defiant messages as they accelerated toward the hegemony fleet. They're all volunteers, his intelligence officer reported, voice hollow. Every single ship. Their entire civilian population just enlisted. Kethavar watched in growing horror as his superior fleet was slowly, methodically torn apart by what should have been an inferior enemy. These humans weren't fighting a war. They were fighting for their very existence, and they had turned their entire species into a weapon. But the fourth wave was what truly showed him the depth of his mistake. Sir, detecting new signatures from the planet's surface. Massive energy readings from everywhere. Explain. Sir, they've turned their entire industrial base into a weapons factory. Every power plant, every manufacturing facility, every city. They're mass-producing ships and weapons that our radar computers can't calculate. And, sir, they're launching continuously. The entire planet has become a military production facility. On the surface below, humans worked in shifts that never ended. Factories that had produced consumer goods now churned out warships. Children learned engineering alongside basic reading. The elderly operated assembly lines. Artists designed camouflage patterns. Scientists shared their knowledge freely, abandoning patents and proprietary research. Humanity had done something the hegemony had never encountered. An entire species had unified not in surrender, but in absolute total war. Sir, his communications officer called out, message from the surface. Admiral Chen reappeared and Kethavar noticed her uniform was different now, covered in industrial grime, her face streaked with exhaustion. Behind her, he could see humans working frantically at manufacturing stations. You wanted to make us extinct, she said simply. But you misunderstood something fundamental about human nature. When you threaten our existence, we don't curl up and die. We become extinction. We become the thing that ends you. She gestured to something off-screen. Every human who died in your first bombardment had family, friends, people who loved them. And every single one of those people is now dedicated to making sure you never threaten another world again. The transmission ended, and Kethavar stared at his tactical display. Half his fleet was gone. The remainder was surrounded by an ever-growing swarm of human vessels, some military, most civilian, all deadly. Admiral, his tactical officer said quietly, recommend immediate withdrawal. But as Kethavar looked at the readings, he realized the horrible truth. The humans weren't just defending anymore. Those ships weren't stopping at the edge of their solar system. They were following his fleet's projected retreat path. Humanity hadn't just entered extinction mode against his fleet. They had entered extinction mode against the entire hegemony. And they were coming.